How come most startups fail, even when we have more tactics and strategies than ever before? Join the bedside chat of an entrepreneurial couple as they share what it takes to create a business with ease and in flow.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Biz and Flow bedside chat. I'm Natasha Koo and I'm back.
I'm Joachim Jerry and yay, she's back. I don't have to do it by myself anymore.
Hooray.
Super hooray. I am very glad you're back.
I'm back along with my seasonal allergies at full force.
Yeah.
Just tickling my nose, tickling my throat, tickling my eyes.
Tickling everything.
Yeah, not fun.
So tell me everything. What have you learned? How was it?
Does everybody know where I went?
Well, I don't know. We'll just repeat it.
Okay. So I was just away for, they called it a 3-day Vipassana retreat, which is like a silent retreat. It's based on a Buddhist tradition, and I'm not Buddhist, neither are you, Mr. Yawning Face.
I'm not.
But it was from Friday evening until today, Monday noon or so. Oh my goodness, it's very rigid in structure. There was a gong that would wake us up at 6 a.m. By 6:30, we had to be in the meditation hall, and we would just do rounds of 45 minutes of meditation, just sitting on cushions on the floor, and then to walking meditations where you literally kind of very mindfully walk. But on the outside, we just look like zombies. So, yeah, that was kind of what I was doing.
And what did you learn? How was it? What insights did you have? What realizations did you have? Tell us everything.
Calm down. Well, I went into the retreat. Oh, first of all, I want to tell you, I was actually on the waiting list for two of them, because it's very popular. It's quite a famous house, apparently. A famous retreat place in Switzerland. Plus, it's on a mountain, and you get to see, like, the mountains that all the tourists go to see in Switzerland. That's beside the point. But the funny part is, I'm on the waiting list. Now, this is the second retreat. The first one, I didn't get onto the list. The second one, which is this one I just went to, I was on number 26. So a lot of people canceled last minute, cold feet, or maybe they had other plans.
Or you were meant to go there.
Yeah, probably. And I got my spot, number 26 on the waiting list. So my intention to go there at first was, Joachim came back from a cleanse and he made so much progress, and it made me kind of look at, oh my goodness, like, Joachim has resolved a lot of stuff in his life and he's very clear. And there are just certain topics for me that are still there. So they're not major, just one or two topics that I thought I need more help on, that I would like to just make easier in my life. So that's why I went there. So I went and I expected a full-blown emotional eruption so that, whatever I suppress had the space to come out and just to show itself to me. But my experience was actually not at all emotional. And
a little bit, I heard.
Well, yeah, it was mostly peaceful. I was very unattached to my thoughts. I was very, very not taking any of the thinking personally. I wasn't interested in the content of my thoughts. I wasn't even attached to whether I was doing a good meditation or not. It was really peaceful. It was only in the second day that I kind of get in touch with my emotions, and that's when I really unlocked a really, really tight knot within my chest. And it unraveled by itself. And I have to say that it only unraveled because I was surrendering. To me, I thought meditation was all about... And I don't meditate on a regular basis at all. Like, we really don't meditate in terms of this, like, practice. And we sit down, we close our eyes, and we do it however long each day. We really don't do that. But we're familiar with the practice. We're familiar with meditation. But this was the first time where I really experienced how when you try to meditate, when you try to notice your thoughts and what's coming up and what's going on inside, and it's almost like the mind latches onto that and goes, ooh, yeah, you have to be a good meditator, or ooh, yeah, you know, you could better get a point each time you notice something. You're like, oh, I got a point, or like, oh, I'm doing well. Like, what's up with that? Like, it almost turns into work or something you're actively trying to achieve. And if you don't, you're like, oh no, I'm lost in my thoughts again. So at first I was really blissed out, and I was just surrendering to my experience, which felt really amazing. But because there were all these lectures sometimes for just a few minutes before the start of every sitting meditation, I found myself taking what they were saying very literally, and they were describing meditation, what it brings and what you do. I took it very literally, and I began to do meditation versus just being and noticing, allowing myself to just feel and surrender to that. And it took me almost like all day to realize why it was getting more difficult, or like, why isn't it as nice as before? So it took me half a day to actually realize why it was getting harder and harder, and I wasn't in such a beautiful feeling anymore. But I got caught on. And yeah, it was really peaceful. It was as if I walked in thinking I have all sorts of problems. And then throughout the experience, I realized, well, surrendering is it. And that's what I like to share with people anyways. That's the bulk of the work that I do anyways, right? It's to tap into the emotional component and to surrender to that, and to sometimes make fun of that too. And then I realized that when you are just allowing, you're surrendering, you're just being with yourself and everything that comes up, it will unravel on its own. It doesn't require a ton of effort or even you actively doing anything. And you don't need to know why, you don't need to know how, it just will unravel by itself quite easily.
That's quite a beautiful realization, and it sounds a lot more simple than most people think about things that they're struggling with and all of that. So what kind of prompted this insight? Do you have any idea?
Throughout the whole meditation, or I just called it meditation, the whole thing was supposed to be like meditation from the moment you open your eyes until the end. But the ones where we really like sat down and, you know, got into the position and mostly closed my eyes and sat there to meditate, I first focused a lot on the thoughts, because that's what the two teachers kind of like guided us towards, which was fine. That's just a part of my experience. It was only on the second day where one of the teachers said that, well, in addition to thinking and having all these thoughts float around your head, you can also focus on emotions, because that's also something that's ever changing as humans. So that was really exciting for me, because I like emotions and I like to see what they're pointing me towards. So even on the first day, I had this like slight sensation within my chest, like slight pain, slight pressure. And sometimes it would get so intense that it literally felt like physical pain. Not that there was anything wrong with my heart or my chest, but it's just sometimes there are knots within us emotionally and just feels blocks in certain places. So for me, it's my heart. And then on the second day, when we were kind of allowed to go towards emotions and notice that more, I just felt straight away, well, that's what the emotions are showing. That's the sensation within my body that's really revealing itself to me when I go into the emotion. So I picked it up and I just felt it, and it just kind of went like domino effect, and it just unraveled.
It's so beautiful, because that's exactly what I always mean when I say, you just notice. It's just because what you're describing sounds to almost like there was no stickiness, nothing. You just wasn't in. You just, the awareness shone its light on it, and then it just started to unravel itself. And that's my experience as well. That I had moments, after a retreat or something like that, where something would come up, and I wouldn't engage. I wouldn't want to push it away. I wouldn't change it or anything. I literally just noticed it, and it just came like a wave, and it went again. And so that sounds like something very familiar to what you seem to have experienced.
I do have to add to that, though, because just noticing doesn't mean that you feel something and you then suppress it. Like, sometimes...
No, that's not noticing.
No. Because sometimes people can be like, oh, yeah, I know I'm sad. And then, like, over. Like, they're like, oh, I know I'm sad. Therefore, like, I know. And then it's like, all right, what's next now? Right? That's kind of like, yeah, I acknowledge it reluctantly.
Well, it's a superficial kind of noticing.
Exactly. It might seem to them like, oh, I notice I'm sad, right?
Yeah, but when I mean noticing, you notice it with your whole being. There's no attachment, no resistance at any level.
And that's the exact point. I was really surprised that it wasn't sticky. None of the topics or even the thoughts, the content of the thoughts, were sticky at all. As in, there weren't any running themes or patterns that kept popping up again and again to bother me or to tell me I need a solution or to, just kind of make itself a problem to me. Like, it didn't show up in that way. And also, all the thoughts that came up, sometimes I'd be like, oh, okay, that didn't feel so great. But none of them really had this emotional stickiness where I was like, oh my goodness, I feel so awful about that, or oh, something is off there that I really want to look into it. I was really, really surprised. Because sometimes I can go through life and there are certain things that kind of like always like get me irritated, or I get more reactive. But I was just so surprised that didn't happen. That didn't happen. And I think it was because of this. I allow myself to just really be quite neutral. It's almost as if you're like watching someone down the street do their thing, and you have no relationship with them, and it doesn't matter what they do, and that kind of thing. So it was because of this that I gave myself the space. I really allowed myself to just notice everything. I wasn't judging. I wasn't getting caught up in it very much. And I think it's from this place of just feeling kind of safe enough to just go into all of it, that I didn't stop the process. I wasn't trying to mess with it. It's as if, and I described this to you, it's really actually quite beautiful. Because once I did feel into the emotion, like that feeling within my chest that was really uncomfortable, when I was trying to get a clear sense of the emotions that were passing through me in the meditation, I began to see kind of this revealing of what the feeling may be. Right? It brought me to certain images and visions and feelings, and just like my body, like certain body parts were like warming up, and I could feel something was happening, but I didn't stop it. I allowed it to kind of move through me, and it was as if there's this knot within my chest or within me, and it's very slow motion, so it's kind of almost like it's underwater, and then within the water the knot just unties itself. It doesn't need me to do the untying. It just does it on its own. But I didn't meddle with it. I allowed it to come, and I was there. I was very present. I wasn't trying to pushing it away. I wasn't just going, oh yeah, I see that, and then like, let's move on now, because that wasn't so nice. I let it all come. Oh, actually, maybe this is important to say. I was crying at this point. When this when I really tapped into the feeling within my chest, that pain, I just started crying. It wasn't like a bawling. I wasn't like loud and just sobbing, but tears and this release came, And I didn't even stop the tears from crying, from coming. I just cried, let it drip onto my sweatshirt or whatever, wiped it with my jacket, and then off I go.
And you know what is quite important? You for whatever reason didn't have any desire of having to make it go away. Because lots of people are like, right, I'm going to surrender to it so it's gonna go away. And of course, that is actually not true surrender or acceptance of what is. It is a little sneaky, little different way of saying, I want you gone. And you didn't have any of that. How come?
I think I'm such a serious person. I can be, as funny as I am. Haha. I can be a very serious person, as in I take instructions and I want to do things well. So the instructions in this case was notice what you're feeling. Notice your emotions. Notice what emotions want to be felt by you in a way. So it wasn't notice what emotions you're feeling and get rid of the negative ones. That wasn't the instructions. So I really took it to heart that I'm just gonna feel what emotions are here, bring my attention to it, and just be with it. That was the instructions, so I didn't I was a good student.
Yes. However, I believe that there's probably more underneath than you just following the instructions that allowed you to do that. Because when people hear that, they can try their best to do that, but most people have some kind of a resistance happening because they feel the emotion is somehow dangerous or bad or negative or something like that, and they try to struggle themselves free. And you, for whatever reason, intuitively didn't have any of that.
I gotta say that I definitely had experiences in the past, maybe sometimes recent too, but not particularly on this retreat, where I would take a walk because I wasn't feeling well, just so I would feel better. Or I would do something and be like, oh, that doesn't feel right within my body or in how I feel right now, and I'm going to breathe into that so I can release it. So I've definitely gone down the path of I notice something that I don't like, I don't appreciate, I don't want to keep around, and I'm going to do something to resolve it. So I've definitely done that before. But particularly why I didn't choose to do that on this retreat. So the part what I said at the beginning, how, I went to the forest and, on the first day I already felt this pain in my chest. So I've noticed it before, and I did breathe into it while I was walking back from the forest towards the meditation center. I was really feeling it, and I was breathing out. Now, I'm not sure if it really helped, but it just felt good to do that. I'm not sure if I was trying to get rid of it, but I was just being with it, and it felt right to breathe that way, to breathe into the chest, and then to just really, really do a loud exhale out, with my arms open when I exhaled. So that's what I did the first day. And then the second day, when I tap into this feeling again, it was more from a curiosity. It was from oh my goodness, yeah, that sensation is still there, that emotion's still there. Oh, there it is. It's kind of like I found you again, versus, I see you, now let me get rid of you. So that was really helpful. And I gotta say, even after this release, and afterwards I had a bunch of, more meditations, of course, walking meditation and then sitting, the sensation was still there. And I literally, I remember very clearly one walking meditation, I was just breathing with this dull, like pain. It's almost like a bruised feeling within my chest. And I was just walking and noticing that and breathing through it all over again. So it's not as if I released it. Yes, I did. but then the sensation within the body was still there. So it's interesting. So I felt it before the release, I felt it after the release. That doesn't necessarily mean that I got rid of it, but a layer definitely left me, and I was still being with it.
Beautiful.
And eventually it kind of really dissolved. I don't even know when. That's a really interesting part. I don't even remember when it went away. Because, sensations, emotions, they come and go. It's not like we constantly are looking at our thermostat and going, like, what degree is it? No? Like, we notice, oh, it's warmer now. Oh, it's cooler now. When you have that drastic difference, or when you're really putting your mind to it. So for me, I don't even know when it really left, because it's not here anymore. I hope that this really makes sense, because we're talking about emotions, we're talking about sensations within the body, and it's not, a physical wound or,
Yeah, but I think everyone can relate to that, because everyone has felt emotions, and so they do feel very physical. And I think you've done a great job at explaining your experience and your different kind of ways of going about it. Not necessarily like consciously, but, different attitudes you seem to have had towards those feelings and what happened with those different kinds of attitudes. So I think that's a very good place to wrap it up. Or do you have anything else you want to add?
Do you?
Absolutely not. You see how easy it is to do a podcast with her? I literally just have to talk for like 2 or 3 minutes, and she talks the rest. It's amazing. I love it.
That's because you asked me what I've done in the last 3 days.
Exactly. It's perfect. That's why I always ask what she has learned, so I don't have to talk.
I should just kick you out of this podcast and see how you do. But today I just... Okay, you can keep laughing. Today I just wanted to share with you how I deal with my own emotions, and how I guess use meditation in my own way, and how it's really not a sport, right? Meditation can become a sport for some people.
Yeah, it can. Very goal-oriented.
Exactly.
There's no goal.
I need to do well, I need to do it properly, and it needs to be right, and I can't mess up. So it's all about surrendering, and I'm about to sneeze again, so I better say goodnight. Oh.
Good night.
Good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you tomorrow, and hopefully my allergies are better. If you do have tips for like homeopathically or natural solutions to get rid of seasonal allergies, I'm listening. So please do comment.
Bye.